Hey everybody, Maxwell here with Helpmeclose.com. If you're just tuning in, this is part 2 of my conversation with the Queen of Questions, Deb Calvert. In part 1, we talked about 8 different types of questions that you can use in your sales meetings, in your presentations, or just in your day-to-day life. These are communication, human-to-human skills that everybody should be working on, everybody should be honing in. Because if we can ask better questions, and more importantly, if we can listen to those answers, we're going to better be able to improve our relationships, whether that's in sales or in our day-to-day life with our friends, with our spouses, with our kids. So again, this is really important information. You're going to want to check out part 1. In part 2, Deb and I, we start talking about her latest research. And in this research, Deb has been asking over hundreds of consumers out there in the B2B space, asking them, what specific behaviors are you looking for and do you enjoy from your buyers? In other words, what are the behaviors that people like to see in sellers like you and me? So you're going to stay tuned, get out your pen and pencil, follow along with us. Deb asked me some questions. I'd love to hear what your opinions are and then compare it to the answer and her results. Because again, the better that you can become at asking questions and at understanding your buyers, the better you're going to be able to close more deals. So stay tuned.
I know that you've been working on some research as you've been asking people to participate in different surveys and been collecting all sorts of data. Would you be willing to share, some of the results that you've gotten from this recent research?
You bet. So Discover Questions Get You Connected, the book we've been talking about, that's based on 20 years of research with sellers and buyers. Mm-hmm. The more recent work that I've been doing the last couple of years is based on research with buyers, specifically about the behaviors that they would like to see in sellers.
Okay.
And we've sliced and diced it, so I actually think your audience will be very interested to know the one difference, the primary difference that showed up in this research between buyers who are under 30 and those who are over 30. So let's make sure we get back to that.
Okay.
This research, panel studies with Qualtrics, funded by Santa Clara University in partnership with the folks who do the Leadership Challenge work, Jim Kouzes and Barry Posner. So that's over 30 years worth of research that we are piggybacking onto. So there's just incredible depth of what we have here. And what we've done is we've asked these buyers from all sectors, all age groups, all different kinds of buying situations. We've asked them to help us understand the behaviors that they would like to see more frequency from in the sellers they choose to do business with.
Okay.
So it's fairly complex here. And you and I have done this before, but I'll ask you to play along again because I think it's so interesting. So we'll let all your listeners who are watching this have the opportunity to dial into it in the same way. Mm-hmm. 30 behaviors is a lot. That's just, too much to cover in one short conversation. But we've grouped them the same way that they have in the Leadership Challenge for anybody who knows about leadership work. Mm-hmm. And what that gives us are 5 practices then, each with 6 behaviors underneath it. This is much easier to understand.
Yeah.
Okay. So with your permission, I'll review those 5 practices, give people a moment to make their guesses about what they think would be out of the 5 most important to buyers. And then I'll screen share if we can make the technology work, and I'll give you some responses from buyers.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, so do you remember when we did this? It's been a while, and I'm wondering if it is going to be fresh for you or not.
You'll have to refresh my memory. So yeah, it has been a while. I vaguely remember it, but yeah, you'll have to refresh.
Well, I'll just put you right back on the spot again. Then we know your answers are going to be better because it's somewhere back here in your subconscious. But
I'm hoping. I'll be really embarrassed if they're not.
No, it's quite all right, because I will say right off the bat that not very many sellers have answers that align with our buyers. So this is the very first and most important thing to know is, hey, this isn't the slam dunk we think it is. So 5 practices, they go like this. The first one is model the way. Model the way is a practice that is about the behaviors related to, I have values, I know what my values are, I'm clear about my values, and my actions accurately represent the values that I profess. Very interesting, because in sales, we don't often think about this, but these are coming from the work in leadership. And what we know about this particular practice, Model the Way, and all of them, is that every single one of them, one of the 30 behaviors is something buyers do want to see more frequently. So buyers want to see even these things I'm describing that don't sound very salesy. Okay? So Model the Way, values and actions. The second practice is to inspire a shared vision. And this is related to the behaviors that are, I'm going to paint a picture of the future. I'm going to show you how your interests can be realized by buying into this vision that I have for our future. I'm going to give you some real opportunities to see yourself in that future. That's inspiring a shared vision.
Okay.
Challenge the process, number 3, is, and these are just in a random order at this point, not the buyer preference order.
Okay.
Challenge the process is behaviors that show I can experiment and take risks, that I can innovate, that I can set up opportunities for small wins along the way, that I can have outsight, looking beyond what is familiar and known, so that we have an opportunity to create something new. Okay, so boy, 8 discover questions, 5 practices. This is packed full of stuff today.
Yeah, lots of value.
Enable others to act is the 4th practice. And this is the work that we would do as leaders, the work that we would do to create a cooperative environment, to allow for some autonomy of decision making, to be able to liberate people to make their own contributions in their own ways.
Okay. Which one was that? So we have model, inspire, challenge, and
this is enabling others to act.
Okay.
Yeah. And 5th is encourage the heart.
Okay.
And I really like the visual that comes with this one. So encourage means to pour courage into, and where are we pouring it? We're pouring it into the heart. So pouring courage into someone's heart. Sellers pouring it into a buyer's heart. That's weird.
Yeah, that just paints a real warm image. I like that one.
It does, but I like that it's heart, not brain, not something else, because it's about the emotional connection that we're making. And these are behaviors around praising the good work that you're doing, around recognizing and celebrating the contributions you're making to our shared success. Okay. So those are the 5. 6 behaviors under each one of them. What do you suppose buyers put at the top? Out of all these that are all important, out of those 5 practices, which ones do you think buyers ranked as being the most important, that they see most frequently from sellers?
Again, I hope I'm aligning with what I said before, but I don't remember what I said before. So going with my gut, I really liked what you said about, encourage the heart. I like the image that paints. So for me, that resonates the most. So I'm going to say encourage the heart. Okay.
What do you think? Let's just do them all. What do you think would be second? So we've got encourage, that leaves enable, challenge, inspire, and model.
I would say, let's see. So we got model, encourage, challenge, and inspire, right?
Right, and enable.
And enable.
Yeah, you used encourage.
I used encourage. Okay. I would say probably it's so tough because they're all so important. They're all very important. Yes. I would say model behavior. Okay. Yeah. Final answer.
Yeah. So those would be your top 2, encourage and model. Okay. I ask this question to a lot of sellers, big groups, small groups, individuals, everywhere that I can. And most people who are in sales who haven't had this conversation before say this. They say, oh, it's got to be inspire, right? That's the one that's most like selling. I've got to paint that picture and help you see yourself in the future. So sellers put that at number 1. Buyers put that at number 5, not just by a little bit, but by a lot. It's still important. They want to see it more frequently, but there's like this gap between the first few and then inspire is down there.
Okay.
So if we don't know that, then we're turning up those behaviors at a time when turning up other behaviors would have higher impact. So that's the last one. Let me show you the first 3. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't screen share. Tell me if we get there. I think we're there. Tell me if we're
perfect. Yeah.
Okay. So buyers, and this is all age groups of buyers. Buyers rank enable others to act as number 1, the one that's most important to them out of all of them. And you can see on the left-hand column here, these are the 30 behaviors that are being listed. Number one is that the seller fully answers my questions and provides information that is relevant, timely, and useful. This is huge. And the comments that we got back from buyers really give us some clarity around this. Here's what happens. You said it earlier. They have already qualified themselves by the time they ever come to talk to us. They think they already know the solution. So what do they want to know? They want to know price.
Mm-hmm.
And what are sellers taught to do early on? Don't answer the price question.
Mm-hmm.
Dodge it, deflect it, delay it. Don't answer it until you have value fully established. And this is driving buyers nuts because they think they're ready to hear price. They just want you to give them the information, and yet we're withholding it. So we have to be a little more nimble here. We have to be a little more artful to say, okay, I understand that the most important thing to my buyers is that they want me to fully answer their questions in a relevant, timely, useful way. They want to know about price. I've got to talk about price. Maybe I don't have to say the exact price, but I've got to say something, a range, a reason, why I need more information. I will get price to you, and then I do it fairly soon. But we can't ignore the fact that this is the number one behavior. And then look at number two. Seller treats me with dignity and respect. And one aspect of respect is that you actively listened, you heard what I had to say, and you responded to what I asked you to respond to. So it's a 1-2 punch here around this answering things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is the number one practice. Shall I jump to number two?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's check it out.
The number two is, again, now we're looking at the roll-up of all of the buyers that we surveyed. And out of all of the buyers that we surveyed, Model the Way came in at number two. But I mentioned that there was a subtle difference between millennial buyers under 30 and those who were over 30. And this is it. Number two is everybody all together. But when I segmented, this is the one and only difference between the age groups. And that is that the number two and the number three were flipped when it was under 30, over 30. So Model the Way is important to everybody. And what it represents, especially if you see the third most important behavior, that's about DWISIWID. DWISIWID being the acronym for do what you say you will do. Promise me something, then do it. If you said you'd call me Thursday at 8, then call me Thursday at 8. Don't call me at 9. So this buyers got very passionate about this particular response. Okay, but millennials didn't put this at number two. They put this at number three, and they put everybody else's number three ahead of it. And this is exactly what you said. That encourage the heart mattered. And then let me just add to this. So I went and I segmented all the comments and tried to read for context. Buyers over 50 put a lot of comments in about the seller talks about the ROI. The seller understands what drives this business. The seller talked about things that were technical and had this expertise. Okay, that was over 50. Really very clear. Those were the comments about what mattered.
Mm-hmm.
Under 30, in the free response comments, it was all about this encourage the heart piece. The seller cared about me. The seller cared about the values of our company. The seller took time to praise me and to make it possible for me to make my own decisions and opened up the conversation that was more about me and the things that matter to me. Mm. So I think this nuance is important. And I think if you are a seller who's under 30, you want to adapt to a buyer who's not. And if you're a seller of any other age group, pay attention because these are the buyers of the future and this is what they care about. And we can't be misaligned or think that that's not important because it certainly is. It very clearly is important to them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so number 4 is challenge the process. Number 5 is inspire shared vision. All of them matter, but that's the order that we ought to be paying attention to them according to these buyers.
Absolutely. And this is important for us as sellers to know because that's what our buyers want. So, one of the best ways we can improve sales is by talking with our clients, finding out what they want. And there's the research. So thank you for doing that, Deb. I really appreciate it.
You bet. This is just like the tip of the iceberg. There's so much really
Yeah.
great stuff here. I hope actually that people who are listening will consider coming in and participating in phase 2 of the research, which is the seller side.
Okay.
We're doing giveaways, in fact. So I hope we get a chance to tell people about that.
Yeah. So next question is, where can our audience, where can they go to learn more about your research and to learn more about you and what you do?
Okay. My website, start there. That's my company name is People First Productivity Solutions, very long. The website is People First PS, People First spelled out PS for Productivity Solutions.
Okay.
PS.com. Then put a backslash after that and hyphenate the phrase stop selling, start leading. That'll take you directly to the page with this research, with opportunities to hear videos like this one, articles, infographics, whatever you want. It's all being accumulated.
And I'll put these in the show notes as well. So for those watching and listening, you can also check out in the show notes these different links. And what's the best way for our audience to be able to get in contact with you?
Send me an email, send me a text. It's all over the website, and I would love to talk to you. I really enjoy hearing from people in the field. That's the research I do. So just know that if we talk, I'm probably going to put something in a blog or in a piece of research, because you're always feeding what I'm doing next.
Yeah, and be prepared if you do get the opportunity to talk with Deb to answer questions. But she asks very good questions. So
yeah, I'm a coach, and so it sometimes comes out as I'm talking to people.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Deb. Again, I appreciate your time. It's been wonderful talking with you. I just looked at the clock and I can't believe we've been doing this for an hour. So
time flies.
It does. It does. But thank you again so much. I've enjoyed it. And we look forward to learning more from you and having more interaction with you in the future.
Oh, thank you, Maxwell. Take care.
All right. Thanks, Deb.
Hey closers, I hope you've enjoyed my interview with Deb Calvert. It's been a blast having her on the show. If you ever have any questions for either myself or Deb or any of my guests, please send an email to me at contact@helpmeclose.com. I want to hear from you. And if you want to even send a video, send it my way. I'll go ahead and forward that to these mentors who I'm talking to, and we'll get their response as well. So again, thank you for watching. Be sure to click the subscribe button and leave a comment so I can hear from you and learn more about what you want to hear, what you want to see. Thanks again for tuning in, and keep closing.